Back to Market on Close. I'm Alex Coffey, now joined by Steve Wesley, founder and managing partner of the Wesley Group, to discuss Tesla, a stock that will drive investors mad and traders insane. Is Steve, objectively, I think a pretty tough print from the company, but of course Tesla will go where no one expects and it jumps on the news. Talk to me big picture though. What did you make of the numbers we got?
Look, they delivered 384,000 units. That's a small uptick from Q1, but still down 14% year over year. Tesla sales are down in the US, down in Europe, flat-ish in China. And the big issue is at precisely the same time, BYD grew 38% Q1, VW doubled EV sales, GM grew a whopping 97% in EV sales. Tesla needs a game plan to catch up.
So, Steve, are we, in a way, really going to need to see more on whether it's sustainability through batteries, automation, and robotaxi from Tesla, going forward to rationalize the excitement around this name? Because, and I don't want to put words in my mouth, maybe you can expand on this too, it seems, at least in North America, there's a bit of a saturation of this market relative to maybe where expectations were several years back. It doesn't look like the adoption's quite as widespread. So maybe we start with that point. We can work our way to, what Tesla's going to have to do.
Well, what Tesla has to do is the easy part, but let's talk about what's going on globally. EV sales are booming. There's no saturation going on. Global EV sales are up 29% in Q1 year over year. Volkswagen, BYD coming into market with great product. North American sales up 16% year over year. Europe up 22%. China whopping 36%. The simple fact is battery costs are going down. EV sales are going up. Now the question is, how does Tesla win in that marketplace? I think there's a simple three-prong attack to get back on plan. They need a new $25,000 model to compete with China, Volkswagen, Hyundai. They need regulatory approval for Robotaxi in multiple cities, not just in Austin, and a little bit of rebranding. Less politics, more models, more full self-driving, lower prices. That's the plan to win.
What do you think a reasonable timeline is for, a real rollout of whether it's Robotaxi, Waymos, then you take your pick? I've heard 10, 15 years. I've heard sooner than that. What do you think is reasonable? Several cities have technologies like this rolling beyond maybe what we're seeing right now, which is limited in scope.
Look, the world's moving way faster than that. I think Tesla's got about a year to bring a new lower cost model to market. That is what the world wants. You can see prices coming down throughout the world, sales taking off. BYD, fastest growing major auto company in the world. Tesla needs a low-cost product, but they also need to get going with full self-driving. Again, they have launched in Austin, but it's in a teeny geofenced area with a human being sitting in the front seat. They need full self-driving. They need it in multiple cities. By comparison, Waymo is already in 4 major cities: LA, San Francisco, Phoenix, Austin, but they're expanding into Miami, Washington, Atlanta, New York City, Toyota. They're going global. Tesla's got to find a higher gear to catch up. And don't forget the Chinese. The Chinese have at least 6 major full self-driving companies. There's massive competition there that's spurring better products. BYD, Pony AY, and WeRide are the ones to watch. And just by comparison's sake, WeRide already authorized to provide service in 30 cities in China. So this competition is global. But right now, Tesla's probably a second behind Waymo. They've got to get regulatory approval in more cities.
Going back to kind of the core business, which is, of course, selling cars and growing that within this EV world, you mentioned, obviously, the swift adoption we're seeing globally. Is Tesla's divergence from those trends, in your mind, the branding perception, or is it a preference, maybe in Europe, maybe in China, to buy domestic, to buy European products, to buy Chinese products, and Tesla may be seen as an American company?
Well, there's clearly a little bit of that, and Tesla's just not the most popular brand in Europe these days. But I would argue consumers want the same thing. They want a low-cost, spiffy EV that gets as close to 300 miles or more as you can. BYD has hit the cover off that particular ball. and they're offering $8,000 to $9,000 EVs, Seagull in China. They're offering a similar car, Dolphin, throughout Europe. BYD is now selling more cars in Europe than Tesla is, a dramatic reversal from just 24 months ago. So I think a lot of people, US might be a little bit different, but a lot of people throughout the world, whether it's China, India, South America, or Europe, they're willing to buy Chinese cars. The name of the game is getting prices down and getting good new product to market. Right now, BYD is winning that game with Volkswagen and Hyundai right behind.
How do you feel trade policy, if at all, impacts this competition? Are we heading towards a world where the U.S. is kind of isolating itself in some ways? And what kind of impact would that have on a company like Tesla?
Well, look, I think the tariffs are a mistake. We are isolating ourselves. And when you take away the tax rebates, you're just putting U.S. companies at a disadvantage. Companies, whether it's Ford, General Motors, they're going to lose market share. And I think that's a shame. But there's one thing I want to be clear on. A lot of people say, oh my God, the sky is falling, a $7,500 tax rebate is going away. What everybody should realize is there's a revolution in battery technology. Battery prices went down literally 20% in 2024, probably going down another 15% in 2025. By next year, even without the $7,500 federal subsidy or tax credit, EVs are going to be costing less than a comparable internal combustion engine vehicle. What we've seen for the last 10 years is if you wanted an EV, you paid a green premium. For the rest of your life, you're going to be getting a green discount. That's why EVs are taking off, not just in the US, but globally.
One thing's for sure is it's rapidly evolving, and the adoption, as you put it, is certainly not lackluster worldwide. So exciting times ahead, and we look forward to them. Steve Wesley of the Wesley Group, thank you so much for joining me on this holiday week.